So, welcome to the piano presentation, dear ladies and gentlemen. In this presentation, I will try to reveal the mystery surrounding my piano. And when people come and ask me, what are you actually doing, Christo? They mean, how come you are playing the piano and we hear violins and trumpets and drums and bass and everything? This is a mystery. Usually they think it's a record, but definitely it is not a record. This is real performance. And I will explain in simple words how it works. First question they usually ask me, is that piano electronic or is it acoustic? It is totally electronic. If it was acoustic, under the lid we would see strings, but under the lid of my piano you can only see loudspeakers. And the piano, inside of it, is a computer. It produces a waveform similar to that, and it delivers it to the loudspeakers, therefore we hear it. So, a very brief historical background of the keyboard instruments says that the first keyboard instrument has appeared in the 14th century and has been called clavihorn. Its sound was very low in level and very sharp. It took some 200 years until the second instrument was developed. Its name was harpsichord. Its sound was not much louder than the first instrument, and it was also very sharp. And it took another 200 years until the 18th century when the piano in today's shape appeared. And Johann Sebastian Bach has been one of the contributors to the way they tuned that piano. And it took another 200 years until the newcomer in the keyboard instruments came. This was the electronic keyboard. Dr. Robert Moog was one of the most important developers. And only 50 years later appeared a new piano, the piano for rat. It has only 5 keys. We go ahead, full steam ahead. So, what actually is the difference between the electronic and the acoustic instruments? I will focus on this in order to reveal the magic around my piano. So, first I will list 8 advantages of the electronic instruments, and then I will list 8 advantages of the acoustic instruments, and you will make the conclusion for yourself. First advantage of the electronic, sound quality. Very satisfying. When people come and ask me, is it electronic or is it acoustic, it means that they cannot make the difference by ear. It means that it's simulating the acoustic piano very well. Second, it's much lighter. If you remember how we moved the real piano, now I can tell you my last piano I bought weighs 14 pounds. I take it with one of my hands, the other I put in my pocket, and I whistle as I carry it. So it's quite different. Third advantage, price. Price ratio is about 1 to 10. So the benefit is for the electronics. They are much cheaper than the acoustics. And the fourth advantage, always in tune. Once you buy an electronic piano, you never care for tuning. It tunes once and for all. Fifth advantage, no strict humidity and temperature requirements. I remember the time when I had to put jars with water in my piano in order to keep humidity at a certain level so that it doesn't go out of tune. But sixth advantage now is very important. 6, 7, and 8 advantages are very important, and I will pay more attention on them. Sixth advantage, large dynamic range. What it means? It means that I can play very loud and very soft on my piano. I have this magic button called volume, and if I turn it low, it goes down. If I turn it high, it goes much higher. This magic button helps me very much to adjust my level to the atmosphere in the lounge. If people are willing to dance and shouting, I put it up. But if people are willing to talk and just a little music in the background, I put it down. This you cannot do with the acoustic piano. Acoustic piano has one level. You cannot play much softer or much higher on it. So this is very important advantage, and it also is important when you have to practice, because if you happen to have neighbors, poor people, they will be They will have music even when they don't want. And here is a picture of a colleague of mine who practiced her flute. And she was irritating her neighbors. So, but anyway, she was successful. So, seventh advantage is the sound variety. Now we enter a deep forest. When you buy a piano, acoustic piano, you buy a piano and nothing more. But listen now what you are buying when you buy an electronic piano like this. I will make a short demonstration. This is my panel here. And when I press piano, of course it sounds like piano. But if I press the second button, it's organ. And we enter a church. If I press the next button, guitar, what happens? Sounds like a guitar. If I press the next button, listen to the strings. I do it with a couple of fingers. Yes. When we press the next button, look at that brass. If you remember how I met the captain the first day. Quite a brass orchestra. And now it becomes more interesting. I can even play drums on my keys. I'm pressing just the keys, there are no drums. Just pressing the keys. Okay, and here it becomes even more interesting. Listen now.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Obviously this is not me.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So these are under my keys. I have these sounds recorded and I can play on them.
Put your hand, come on now. Put your hands together.
Everybody now.
So, as you can see, there's a lot of fun here. Also some effects. Rain. We badly need rain, sorry to say. Even thunders. Wind. River, and so on and so on. These are sounds that are recorded and I put under my keys. Yes, and the most important of all are the electronic sounds, sounds of electronic instruments. They usually make us feel something like feeling for eternity, for space, and so on. Listen to one of them. It sounds familiar, actually. They use these sounds much everywhere in movies, in commercials, and so on. So, as you can see, sound variety is very rich. How they make this? I will explain how they record the acoustic instruments and they put them in my piano. They do this in studio nowadays. They call, for example, this violin player. They call him in the studio. He has a really quality instrument, something like Stradivari or Guarneri or something like that, and they record each of his strings, and they put them in my piano. When I play a key, it plays his strings, it plays the recording of his instrument. So I actually play a real Stradivari, or on the piano, I play a real Steinway, or some very good brand. So that's the way they deliver the sound to my piano. There was a fear that the synthesizer will displace all of the rest of the instruments because they are cheaper, they are no worse than the others, And who will give a lot of money to buy trumpets, violins, bassoon, and so on, instead of buying one synthesizer and solving the problem? But after 40, 50 years later, it became clear that this is not a real fear, because still they play in the orchestras with the old instruments, and they are not going to give them up. So, the last possibility is also very important. This is possibility for programming. As I told you, the piano is a computer inside of itself, and as a computer it can receive commands. First attempt to make piano programmable was on a real acoustic Yamaha pianos, and I think some people know this very well. They put inside of it some mechanisms that drew the keys up and down, and it was a bit strange to watch these pianos moving their keys without any piano player sitting on the chair. But this was very difficult to produce, and not very flexible. While this piano doesn't need any key to go down in order to produce the sound. If it receives a command that the key has been pressed, it's just a number. If it receives that number, it plays the key. And you can hear it, no matter if I'm sitting pressing the key or not. If it receives the command, it plays the note. So, in that way, we can make a sequence of such commands and play a whole melody to sound as a background of our performance. And that is the key for the secret I'm going to reveal now. This possibility for programming helps also very much in scoring. This is the blueprint of poor Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, who didn't have any computer by his side, and he had to scratch down and to work much, much more harder in order to write down his genius music. If he had a computer, it would be much easier for him, just like this. So, that was with the advantages of the electronic instruments. Now, I will list 8 advantages of the acoustic instruments. This young girl is enjoying all of these 8 advantages, and here they are. First to 8, sound quality. And how come the sound quality of the acoustics is so high, so much better than the sound quality of the electronics, when you have the sound recorded in high quality studio with high quality instruments, with high quality equipment, and they store it precisely in my piano? Where is the difference? I will try to give an explanation. It is my own explanation. I have it written in articles, and they respect it very much because it's very true. Now, in the studio they record the notes one by one, but there is no musician who plays one note only. Every musician plays a lots of notes. So, if I press one key on my piano, electronic, and one the same key on an acoustic piano, if I had one here, I bet you never recognize the difference with eyes closed. But if I play 2 notes, what happens then? These are 2 strings. In my piano, you have the mathematical sum of the 2 vibrations. But in the real piano, the 2 strings influence each other. They push slightly each other, and they no more vibrate the same way as they did when they vibrated alone. And this is the magic of the acoustic instruments. If I play 3 or 5 notes, they all influence each other in the acoustic instruments. And this is the magic of mutual influence that mathematics, sorry to say, still cannot describe, because it's very deep equations which are not possible so far. Maybe someone would argue. But so far we don't have any mathematical model for showing this influence. So, this is one of the reasons for the advantages of the acoustic instruments. And now, this is my lovely piano. I will try to explain what am I doing when I sit on the chair. I have 3 main approaches, or should I say 2 main approaches. One is to have background, and the other is to not have background. First of all, if I use it a solo piano, I don't have any background. I just press the button that is written piano, and I play piano. And this I do every lunchtime, and usually most of the afternoon cocktail hour, I play only solo piano. Now, this is simple to explain, but what happens when I want to have accompaniment? This usually I do in the evening. There are two possibilities. One is to use styles, and the other is to use MIDI files. I will try briefly to explain this. Styles, this is my panel here, my left panel with the styles. In the factory, they analyze the different styles like Latin, bossa nova, or samba, or rock and roll, or tango, or waltz. They analyze this and they prepare for me small portions, small patterns, usually only one bar. And when I press a chord with my left hand, there comes these patterns. I will make a short demonstration. For example, now I press a chord for a waltz. I have chosen a waltz. As long as I keep my hand off, sorry. As long as I keep my hand on this chord, it will repeat the same. When I change the chord, it changed the harmony. And with my right hand, I can play some melody. And so on and so on. If I, for example, want to play tango, we can make like this. It repeats the same pattern following my harmony, which I define with my left hand, and with my right hand I play a melody. That is the explanation of styles. Ladies will recognize the similarity with ready-to-cook food. It's prepared for myself. I just have to press a chord and it plays by itself. As ready-to-cook food, you just have to warm it up and have it on the table. So, I don't have much of a role in this. It's just prepared. While the next possibility are the MIDI files. I will be very careful explaining MIDI files because I once had a girlfriend who asked me, "Dear, can you explain me what are these MIDI files you are talking about with your boyfriend?" And I said, "Okay, I will." And I started talking. And I talked and talked and talked, and when I looked at her, she was not there. And I tried to call and she didn't answer. Well, it was a problem, so I will be careful. I will very briefly explain what MIDI files are. Anyway, they give you the possibility to program not one pattern, but to program the whole piece from A to Z, each and every note. And for me, this is much more satisfying because it's not that boring from beginning to end. You can make a big variety. So, here comes the question, why? Some guests come to me and ask me, why are you using that electronics? We don't like it. Could you not please play the piano? What can I do then? I turn it off and I play the piano. And they are satisfied and I'm happy with them. But to be honest, for me, this is not very satisfying. It is the same, now the boys will understand me, it is the same if you have a Porsche that can race 200 miles per hour and you can drive it 40, 50. Can you limit yourself only with 40, 50? No, ain't no way. Personally, me, I have an inclination to the rich sound. I will tell you a story in my life. When I was 5 years old, I was given a violin because my grandfather was a violin teacher and he wanted to produce the next Paganini. And he saw in my face, he saw this next Paganini. But I didn't, because I didn't like this thin sound of the violin. It was piercing my ears and I was quite not satisfied with it. I was looking enviously to my sister who was playing the piano, and I was dreaming of this deep sound with deep harmony and thrilling your body. I was dreaming of this instrument. So what happened? I played for 4 years, and then when I was age of 9, I occasionally dropped my violin and it got broken. And I switched to piano. So, even further, chasing the rich sound, I did another action later. I joined a band, because in the band you have bass, drums, trumpets, violins, everything, and the sound is really rich and powerful. That was my dream, and I joined band. Many years later, I read in a magazine, keyboard magazine, what the reasons to join a band is. Okay, they insisted that the reasons are girls, 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 girls. They might have been right. I don't know. I will not argue. The 10th reason being drinking with the boys. Okay, I will not make a discussion about it. I would only want to add at the end what I've done in my life. This ensemble. I established it in 1993. This is an ensemble of 7 persons, 4 of which are playing synthesizers like this piano, and 3 of them are playing a flute, violin, and a cello. We still exist as an ensemble. We still are giving concerts, although I work on the ship, but when I'm not on the ship, we give. And if you write this electroacoustic music ensemble in internet, you will find our page, website, and also you will find us in Facebook, where in YouTube also, we put a lot of our concerts, so you can enjoy listening and watching them. Now, for the end of my presentation, I will make a short demonstration how we prepare these MIDI files. Actually, we record each and every instrument separately, and we stack them one over the other. I have prepared in advance recording, because if I start recording now, it would take too long. Maybe we should miss the dinner and even the night sleep. But I have prepared it in advance, and you will see how the different instruments we record one after the other. So first of all, we usually record the drums. Then we put some bass. We could add some violins. Then I would play the piano. And then I would sing. Your goodbye left me with eyes that cry. How can I go on dear without you? You took the part that once was my heart, so why not take all of me? Thank you very much. This actually was the end of my presentation. But if anyone has some question about the piano, about me, or about anything you have in mind, please ask. Yes? Think about it? The action is very different. It is possible to adjust it inside of the piano, how heavy the keys are. Actually, they are equally heavy all the time, but how they respond to your strikes, but they are very sensitive. And this is also one advantage to the electronic instruments. They are more sensitive than the keys of the real piano. They can make even lower and even higher dynamic with not so much effort. Any other question? Thank you very much. Now I will take these things up and I will continue with music for you. Thank you very much.